Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another installment of beating every PS2 game ever. Today, we are playing James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire. Mission 1 takes place in Hong Kong. Zoe Nightshade, a CIA agent, sent out a distress signal and we just so happened to conveniently already be in Hong Kong. So, the lovely lads at MI6 decided that we should help out the silly Americans. She was investigating Identicon Corporation, a botanical research facility that they suspect is a front for biological weapon smuggling. Before Agent Zoe was caught, she relayed information about a shipment of mysterious vials in mysterious-looking cases. So her first objective is to get our hands on one of these cases and save Agent Zoe. So not only do we have to do her job, but we also have to do extra work to save her ass. After an epic entrance from a man holding the goods that we seek, the first thing I had to deal with was the insanely confusing controls of this game. I know that games experimented with controls for first-person shooters until a normalized control scheme was settled on, so the weird use of triangle for jump, X for fire, circle to use gadget, L2 to crouch, and even R2 as manual aim is fair enough. However, I don't know who the hell decided to have both analog sticks move both the camera and the player. But they should be trapped in a white room with rubber walls because I can only imagine an insane person thinking this was a good idea. The left stick moves you forward and back and lets you turn the camera left and right. The right analog stick moves you left and right and lets you move the camera up and down. Does this seem natural to understand, or does it make any sense at all to anyone? Also, just for a special little treat, for some reason, you can use a select button to fire if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, and it doesn't actually affect anything because it's just an alternate option, but you could if you wanted to. So after I somewhat understood the controls, I started the mission by using my claw and began my way into the facility. I quickly found a lone security guard simply doing his job. So I proceeded to shoot him. In doing so, I discovered something amazing about this game. The aim automatically locks onto enemies as long as you're close enough and you aim in the general direction. I love this because it makes these older first-person shooters much easier and much less painful. I understand that some people wouldn't like this as it makes the game easier and they prefer a challenge, and that's completely fine. But I find it more fun to always be progressing in a game, and the logon makes that possible. Anyways, I carried on deeper into the facility, killing some guards and causing an explosion that the game prompted me to as if I've never played a game before, and I wouldn't be able to figure out that the red barrel on the back of a forklift would go boom when met with a bullet. After finding some more dudes in what I can only assume is the weed experimentation room, I find the case. After grabbing it and heading out the door, I instantly come across Agent Zoe, who was locked up and attached to a submarine. After taking out the sniper staring straight at her for some reason, even though there was an entire room full of people, I was discovered, and the submarine was set to launch. I had 5 minutes to save Agent Zoe before she got swept away. After fighting through many people shooting me, many explosions, and Agent Zoe and the woman in my ear repeatedly saying the obvious,
"You've got to get on that submarine, 007.
I'm working on it. Shut up. I didn't notice. Thank you so much for telling me. I broke the lock to set Agent Zoe free, and the two of us got out of there with the mysterious vials in hand. After that, I went straight to the settings to change my controls so some of that makes a million times more sense. The left analog stick moves forward, backward, left, and right. The right analog stick turns the camera up, down, left, and right. What an outstanding concept. And don't worry, I can still use the select button to fire. Unsurprisingly, breaking into a facility and shooting everyone in sight gets the attention of the baddies. So it was time to make an escape. With Agent Zoe taking the wheel and with me being very safe by sticking half my body out of the sunroof to shoot the cars and helicopters that were sent to kill us, the two of us made easy work out of them and we made it to another facility where the last case of the mysterious vials were being held. We take the vials to the docks for delivery and R introduces us to a brand new whip that's equipped with all sorts of gizmos and gadgets. Then a mysterious woman with a limo and a rocket launcher pulls up, murders Agent Zoe, and takes back the mysterious vials. Well, I'm really glad that we went through all the work and stress of saving her. However, we can't mourn this unfortunate outcome, as after all, we are a trained MI6 agent and we have a job to do, get back those vials. So, we hop on our new ride and chase them down. This mission is fun. I don't know how you can't enjoy it. You're driving around the city, firing machine guns, rockets, and missiles out of your car, blowing up other cars. That's just badass. Sadly, this mission only took 3.5 minutes, but it's okay. because we'll be back. Now that we once again have the case, we can find out what's inside. There are 9 vials of blood. 8 of them are labeled as various world leaders. The last one is labeled Griffin. Reginald Griffin is a British diplomat who is currently at the British Embassy in Romania. He has a weird obsession with protecting a room in this embassy, so our next mission is to head to Romania, sneak into the embassy, and find out what's in that room. Here, we are equipped with a dart gun because we don't suspect the guards of anything, so I guess it would be pretty rude to just murder them. After taking down some guards and spying on a woman getting dressed, I obtained a key that granted me access to Griffin's office. Inside, I find Griffin, dead. He was tortured to death. Then, a man identical to Griffin appears and tries to kill me. Obviously, I'm more epic than him, so I take him out and take his passwords that will grant me access to Griffin's computer. I take any important information and carry on. I tranquilized some more guards and made it out of the embassy. Files on the computer mentioned Malprave Industries, a bioengineering company. There is enough evidence to show that they are responsible for the clone technology that was used with Griffin. So, we are off to Switzerland to sneak into the company to gather any information about them that I can. The plan is to pose as a journalist to sneak in. However, we notice a massive mural of a woman that we have met before at the embassy. We don't want her to recognize us, so we only have 15 minutes to get what we need and get out. I think you're supposed to be able to be stealthy here and go unnoticed, but I'm not sure because I instantly got caught and shot at. I don't know if it's because I started messing with buttons on the desk or if I'm just dumb or what, but regardless, I fought my way through the employee-only sections of the building and gathered information on the way. After taking a whole 2 photos, it was time to escape. And you'd think because I alerted everyone, I could just walk out the front door, but no. For some reason, I head into the basement of this place that has a whole bunch of random nonsense. Also, the whole timer aspect of this level, which adds urgency to it, just disappeared, so I'm not really sure what the point of that was. After killing many more people, the mission ends by grabbing onto a tram hook and escaping. I feel like the end of the mission using the tram hook was the entire reason the basement existed. Someone on the development team thought it would be cool, so they made a purpose just for that ending, but that's okay because it was in fact very cool. Among the information, we found something called defective merchandise. We believe that refers to Dr. Natalia Damascu, a former employee at Malprave. Fearing for her life, she took sanctuary at the British Embassy in Romania. We believe that Malprave hired Carla the Jackal, the same agent who killed Agent Zoe, to raid the embassy and kidnap the doctor, and our job is to not let that happen. Once we're back in Romania, we jump straight into action. We take out the first wave of terrorists and make our way around back. I use my grappling hook to get to the 2nd floor, where I find our good friend R hanging out in the shower, waiting to give me some fancy keycard that will help us make it through the embassy. As we carry on, we find some more terrorists to kill and some hostages to save. We fight through the kitchen and make our way to the flag room, where I perform a masterclass at puzzle solving and riddles.
They refer to an escape route to the roof somewhere in the rotunda. The only clue to its precise location is the phrase king and country. The terrorists are evacuating now, so you must hurry.
What, is it this? I'm too smart. Did you freaking see that? That was excellent deduction of the brain skills. They said I walked in here, right? There's flags everywhere. They said the only clue is the king and country, and until I instantly locked on, boom, British flag, king and country, and I'm a genius and it was a secret entrance, and I just walked right in. So I'm actually the smartest man in the world. I think I am literally James Bond. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty dang smart. Straight in the secret room, we find Dr. Natalia, who says the terrorists met off with Poseidon, which is the data chip she initially escaped with. Now that we know the doctor is safe, it's time to fight Carla the Jackal and avenge Agent Zoe. This boss fight wasn't hard at all. She just took a lot of bullets and dealt heavy damage, but I just sprayed the hell out of her until she fell down. Right after that, we get to the roof and have to fight a helicopter. Although this is seemingly an unfair fight, there are conveniently anti-air guns on the roof, so I was able to take down the helicopter with ease. However, I was slightly confused because I was pretty sure I killed it, but then it spun around in the air for about 30 seconds before suddenly slamming into the building and exploding, which I was not expecting to happen. What the hell's going on? What the hell? What just happened? So, after killing Carla again and taking down the helicopter again, Dr. Natalia explained to us that Poseidon was the secret location of the lab where the cloning technology was developed. However, we still don't have the data chip, but we do know it's somewhere in the city, so we head to the streets to get it. We are once again in our badass car. This mission, like the first car mission, is very simple and easy and short-lived, but it is still very fun. These levels do feel like filler for a game that isn't very long, but that doesn't mean they're not good. I actually really like the car, it's just fun. This mission consists of driving to the city, collecting the data chip, and bringing it back to R. After making a very inconspicuous escape, it was time to ramp things up a bit. I guess I got lucky because there was a tank just chilling in the place where I crashed my car. It had plenty of ammo, gas, and the keys were in the ignition, so I rightfully got in it and carried on to find R. There really isn't much to say about this. Again, it's simple and easy but fun. You're in a tank, blowing up cars, blowing up helicopters, blowing up bridges, blowing up people. There is a section where you get put into night vision, which is fine, I guess. It was pretty unnecessary and probably there just because it's James Bond and night vision is a classic spy thing, but whatever. We met up R and gave him the data chip. After analysis, we are led to an oil rig in the South China Sea. We begin our raid on the oil rig by killing a few bozos. We quickly run into Nigel Block, head of Identicom. So, now that we know we're on the right track, it was time to kill everyone in sight and chase Nigel across the oil rig. Interestingly, there's an optional section here that requires jumping. I know that's not very interesting, but I have not needed to jump until an hour and 40 minutes into playing the game. And like I said, that jumping section is optional. There were other ways to go here. However, these optional things aren't entirely useless. Some of them do let you sneak around enemies or gain access to guns and ammo. Some of them also give you bonus points for performing special Bond moves, like using the grappling hook for example. From what I can tell, these points don't do much for you. You get points for accuracy, time, Bond moves, and difficulty. You can get bronze, silver, and gold medals. I'm unsure if you can get worse than the bronze. Surprisingly, I wasn't bad enough to find out. You do get a reward for getting the gold, but like I said, I'm not sure if they actually do anything for you besides give you an optional task of getting the gold on every level. There's nothing wrong with this being in the game. I have no problem with it, but I wanted to mention it. Anyways, we eventually make it farther up the oil rig and find a point where we can do more platforming that actually progresses the level. Here, we're using a jetpack that we are given before the mission started. But what's a little silly is that you could also use a grappling hook instead. That's not really a problem, but I feel like it should be just a jetpack since you are specifically given it before the mission starts. But oh well. After getting to the very top of the oil rig, we find a woman who proceeds to jump off the roof into some water for some reason. I don't know who she is or why she did that, but okay. Then suddenly, Nigel Block comes out of nowhere. We struggle, fall off the rig, punch each other in midair, and land in the same water. It turns out that the water leads straight to an underwater transport system that leads us straight to the cloning facility. Not quite sure how that works, but it is convenient for us. So Nigel hops into a hovercraft and takes off, and I quickly follow behind. There is a lot of security in this underwater transport system. I wouldn't expect this much resistance here, but regardless, we chase Nigel down while destroying turrets, destroying other hovercrafts, and avoiding getting our heads chopped out by massive fans. Also, this tunnel is pretty long for a secret underwater facility. I would think you'd put the facility deep down, but right below the oil rig and not make an unnecessarily long tunnel to get to it. Just doesn't feel like a very good use of resources, but hey, what do I know? I'm not an evil scientist. Anyways, we eventually make it to a large room with some sort of thingamabob in it. I have no idea what this is supposed to be, but it doesn't matter because this is a fun boss fight. Again, an easy boss fight, but still fun. You have people shooting you from the ground and Nigel shooting you from above. After killing some people, the floor opens up and reveals a massive pool of lava, which is something that confuses me more about this place, but whatever. Then, as I start to perish from the extreme heat, I have to shoot guided rockets into the support beams of the machine, causing it to blow up and sending Nigel into the lava below. And I'm sure he was definitely the real guy and not a clone, and he's for sure dead, and I will definitely never see him ever again. After destroying that thing, we escape and discover the entrance to the cloning lab. So our goal is to destroy it by any means possible. Of course, as we start heading in, we are instantly met with resistance before finding the elevator and going deeper. Along the way, we see science equipment, and to my pea-brain, that tells me we must be in the right place because cloning is a science thing that needs scientific things and people in suits. After ogling at a cool shark, I go into a room, which is of course guarded by more people, where I am able to download some programs onto my device. I then use those downloads in the next room to begin shutting down the facility. Again, not sure how this stuff works, but I guess that's why I'm the guy running around killing people not the one developing all this fancy technology. Now that the facility is in progress of blowing up, it was time to leave. I had to carefully take out some snipers and dodge grenades before heading to a submarine and making my escape. Inside the submarine, we see a familiar face, Agent Zoe. It turns out I was working with a clone earlier, which I guess at this point isn't surprising. She says the clone's job was to get information on what MI6 knew about Poseidon and then infiltrate the CIA. And apparently, the rocket that killed the clone was meant to kill me, which, I mean, that's just rude to be honest. After revealing all of that, the two of us get freaky. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't really be thinking about that after all this and her telling me that she was involved in the plan that was supposed to result in my death, but to each his own I suppose. The submarine autopilot brought us to an aircraft carrier where a secret meeting was being held with 8 world leaders. The same world leaders whose names were on the vials of blood we obtained. So I think we know where this is going. They've probably been cloned and are involved in some evil plot. Whether they are in on it or not is to be determined. Our next mission is to investigate this carrier and gather any information possible. After making quick work of some baddies, we report back to HQ. The people I just killed were from Malprey. They have taken over the ship and kidnapped the world leaders and intend to use their clones to benefit their needs. And in better news, somehow HQ gets word that somebody armed a nuclear warhead on the ship. So obviously, it's a good idea to disarm that nuclear warhead or me and everything else on board will be turned to paste. As we continue to fight in the jet storage, there is a nice example of the Bond moves and usage of the gadgets. While it's still optional, you can sneak around the side and get around the enemies here. You can use your grappling hook and laser to break locks. You can even use your decryptor to gain access to the Harriers. Sadly, you can't fire them, but you can activate them and cause a quick burst of fire from the engines, which would assumingly kill people. I don't know for sure because I already killed everyone before activating it, but I'm just saying this is a cool thing about this game. The optional use of your spy gadgets to find secret paths or find ways to kill enemies with the environment. The only thing is, I wish there was more mandatory usage of the gadgets. There are a couple parts that it's required, but most of it was to download files. It would be cool if there were more things like the jets that you had to do to add more badassery to being a secret agent. Not really much of a complaint, but clearly they had the ability to make these things, so they could have implemented them in a more meaningful way. But eventually, we made it to the top of the ship where we can actually use our jet codes to cook some baddies, which was very satisfying. After killing some people in the conference room and avoiding a bunch of grenades in the staircase, we continue to climb the carrier. A helicopter begins to shoot us and we have to avoid its bullets while also fighting more people on the ground. Once the soldiers were dead, it was time to fight the heli. I prepared my weapon and lined up my shot. Then where did the helicopter go? Okay. Sounds good. We found a woman tied up who said she could disarm the nuclear warhead. So we cut her loose and let her do her thing. Apparently, Agent Zoe got caught, so we have to save her. I'm still not sure why we trust her, but she's going to go find a jet so we can get out of here. Malprey tried to escape with the world leader clones, but we swiftly shut down their helicopter. Agent Zoe magically appeared with a jet and we made our escape. Then, I'm not sure how we know this, but the world leaders are being held hostage in a base in the Swiss Alps. So, it was off to Switzerland to save them. First thing I do in Switzerland is get obliterated by snipers. Then, I killed them and climbed the towers to gain access to a hatch that led into the base. I immediately came across a room where 4 of the world leaders were being held. I didn't know that I was actively saving them, but I killed the armed guards and they were free to go. I then went to a room labeled Silo 1 where the French Prime Minister was being held. I killed the whole 2 people there and Mr. Frenchman was all good. I then went to Silo 2 to save the German Chancellor. I really don't know why they decided to group 4 of these guys together and then separate certain ones and keep them in their own silo rooms, but it was probably a bad plan because it was very easy to save them when there were barely any guards keeping watch. After saving the US president, the baddies did something right and locked me in the silo. Although, at the same time a door opened up and let me out, but at least they tried. I then come across Malprey, who said she set the base to self-destruct. I also learned that her name is Malprey, so I'm guessing that she's the main evil person. We also see Nigel Block. I'm sure we're all in shock, as it turns out that we killed his clone and not him. He seems to not be very happy with me and starts to fire rockets at me. This makes me not very happy, so I shoot him back. After chasing him around the room and shooting him for a bit, Nigel blows up the catwalk in an attempt to stop me and escapes through a hatch. But silly Nigel forgot that I'm a secret agent with a cool jetpack and grappling hook. I chased him and Oh, we're back here. Oh, okay, I'm just here. Oh my, what the?
10, 9, 8,
Did I just die?
7, 6, 5.
What just happened? Hello? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what just happened, so let's try that again. Nigel blows up the catwalk and attempts to stop me and escapes through a hatch. I chased him and then start moving, just move. I'm holding forward on the stick so I don't blow up and die. Oh, it happened again. Yeah, I died again. And I learned that you have 3 lives per level. And if you use those 3 lives, you have to restart the whole level. Oopsies. Let's be fair though. For once, I played a game and didn't die every 5 minutes. And the bit at the end here happened so fast, I didn't even realize what was happening. So I don't feel so bad about it. Alright, 3rd time's the charm. Nigel blows up the catwalk in an attempt to stop me. I chase him down, and he thought he was safe with a jetpack as the floor fell beneath me. However, I hit him with a rocket right in the chest. He flew out the window, and I narrowly escaped. Thankfully, Agent Zoe was waiting by the window and caught me. I don't know how she knew to be there, and I still don't know why we trust her, but I guess I'm glad she didn't let us die. I also didn't even see it when I was playing, but Malprave was trying to escape through the window behind me and got caught in the blast, which is pretty dang stupid if you ask me, because why the hell was she there? She's the one that triggered the place to blow up, and you're telling me she didn't have an escape plan, so she just killed herself? I guess not all villains are evil geniuses. Regardless, Malprave and Nigel Block have been killed, and the entire mission across multiple countries is over and done with. Then we get a very unsatisfying ending. No ending cutscene, no ending transmission from HQ, nothing clarifying that we succeeded in our mission, not even credits. Just a compilation of the game we just played and playing one of the few songs that were in this game. Well, now that the game's over, let's review this thing. Even with the lackluster ending, I still think that this was a pretty good game. A lot of the time, shooter games of this era have a simple, you're the good guy, you must kill the bad guy storyline, and often there is just a pretty basic story mixed in there, like you're a cop and you must do your job and stop these criminals from doing crimes. While this game is a good guy, bad guy scenario, it actually has a decent storyline and provides enough information to make it, 1, an actual story of a secret mission from start to finish, and 2, a comprehensible and easy to follow story while not having it be super simple and basic. I have no idea if this is based off of any sort of previously made James Bond media, and I've never seen any James Bond media, so I can't judge the story based on that, only from what I experienced here. I say that because I don't always like when games take the story of something that already exists and throws it into a game and doesn't really change it at all. If that's the case, I would give the story a 4 out of 10. But since I'm not sure on that, I will give the story a 7 out of 10. Nothing super crazy, but also nothing lame. The gameplay is really fun, besides the default controls, because it would have been a completely different experience if I had to figure out those wacky ass controls. I still do not understand how that was the default control scheme. The best part about the gameplay is the fact that you automatically lock onto enemies. I already mentioned this, but I love this because often these older shooting games are a little difficult because the genre was still growing, so the controls and aiming weren't always the best. So being able to lock on makes it much easier and fun in my opinion. I understand that some games are intentionally harder, and that's where the fun comes from, and I understand that some people don't like games being so easy that you just blow straight through it. However, I enjoy when I play a game and I'm able to make steady progress, and if that means the game has to hold my hand and help me aim, so be it. I also enjoyed the variety of guns, levels, and gadgets. The gadgets are what really sold the Secret Agent part. Having a bunch of high-tech gear makes it feel like a spy movie. Even though the main aspect of the game didn't vary much throughout the game, the different environments and level design helped it feel fresh. Plus, the various shooting at vehicle levels were a fun way to split up the gameplay. I give the gameplay a 9 out of 10. Overall, a really fun game, and I'm glad I played it. So, there we have it. Game number 80 has been beaten. I appreciate you guys very much for watching and making it to the end of the video. Let me know you enjoyed it by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.